Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Music Impossible. This is Professor Jim. Thanks so much for joining us. Today, we're going to build on that great foundation we started last week with our first few lessons, and we're going to start learning about the music staff. The music staff is the canvas of the composer, of the musician. It is what we build our art on. Everything you see here is super important. Understanding all the little aspects of this little teeny tiny thing with a bunch of lines and spaces. It is everything we're going to build on, from reading notes to building harmonies and melodies, all starts right here with the music staff. Now, the first thing you might see here that's part of the staff is this thing called the treble clef. And that treble clef is just that little curly Q thing. We're not going to talk a lot about treble clef. Just wanted you to know what it was since it was there on the screen. We're going to talk about lots of different clefs down the road. There's bass clefs and tenor clefs and alto clefs and percussion clefs. There's music out there that has no clef. And so as we progress in our journey, we'll learn more about clefs really soon. The first one we are going to talk about in a couple of lessons is going to be the treble clef. So there it is. That's what it looks like. You don't have to remember that today, but that's what that is. Now, we have on the music staff, we have 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 different lines. And we always count from the bottom up when we refer to the music staff. The bottom line is line 1. The top line is line 5. That's how we always count from bottom to top. Just like when we go from the bottom or line number 1 up to line number 5 on the music staff, we're getting higher in pitch. So when we had that graphic where the piano arrow pointed to the right and we go higher on the piano, that is higher in pitch. Same thing when we go up the music staff, or 1 to 5, we're going higher in pitch. And when we go 5 down to 1, we're getting lower in pitch. Now, there's not just the 5 lines, but we also use the space in between the lines. We call those the spaces, and there are 4 spaces here in the music staff. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again, we count from the bottom and going up. When we start learning notes here on this treble clef staff very shortly, we're going to be referring to this note is on the 2nd line or that note is on the 3rd space. And so understanding where the lines and spaces are will be an important part of your training and education here. So lines 5, spaces 4. This is the staff that is used 98.999% of the time in music. There are other staffs out there that are used, but that's really far down the road when we get into orchestrating and arranging music. All right, so that's the lines and spaces. Let's go ahead and we're going to take a second and we're going to go over to Sibelius. Now, Sibelius is a computer program, looks like this. And right now I just have loaded in there one little lonely staff. Looks very similar to what we had on the screen counting lines and spaces. This particular program is made by the Avid company. You can go to Avid, A-V-I-D, Google that, look it up, look up Sibelius Avid. They have a free student version of this program. There's other lessons in our program. In the Music Impossible portfolio of lessons, there's some tutorials on Sibelius that are up or coming soon. So this allows us to write professional-looking music without having to draw anything or write anything with a paper or pen, and we get some really good-looking stuff. But I did want to touch on, because one of your assignments this week is going to be to practice drawing notes on the lines and spaces. So I'm going to use Sibelius to illustrate this, and I'm just going to go ahead and plop, this is called a whole note, right there. I'm going to put a whole note there, and that happens to be the note G in treble clef, so the 2nd line in treble clef is the note G. Notice when we write a note on a line that the line goes right down the middle of the note. That's important, especially if you're handwriting something and you want a musician to play it. You don't want any confusion as to what the note is. And we put the line right down the middle. It's very clearly and squarely right there on the 2nd line, very easy to read. So anytime I wrote a note on a line, that one, doesn't matter if it's line 4 or line 5 there. And sometimes we even have notes below the staff or above the staff. In that case, that's a middle C or the note C. We draw an extra line. Still, the note goes right where the line goes down the middle of the note. So that's the key there. We want the line to go down the middle of the note. When we write a note on a space, let's go to the first space. There's the first space in treble clef. Notice that this note touches both lines without going over. If we start to write a note that goes over the line, the musician playing your music might go, is that on the line or is that in a space? I'm not sure. And so if we ever get a chance to handwrite music, we want to follow these rules here, that if it's in a space, it touches the lines without going over. If it's on a line, the line goes shoop right down the middle of the note. All right, everybody, thanks so much for joining us. I'm Professor Jim. Next time, we're going to get into leaps and steps and what that looks like on the music staff as we continue our journey in music theory. Good luck on your quizzes. Good luck on your assignments. Do all of the work. It's going to help you build that foundation. All right, everybody, see you next time.